Hello traders, Gary Wagner here just after 2 o'clock in Honolulu, 7 o'clock in New York. It is Friday. Happy Aloha Friday, as we say on the islands. It is December 15th, 2017, and this is the Daily Report for Gold and Silver. We saw the highest highs and the lowest lows this week, with gold trading to a 6-month low on Tuesday, going to $12.38. A strong recovery on Wednesday, though, propelled it about $16 higher and has finished strongly on the week at $12.58. Silver also managed to take a nice gain on the week, closing up about 17 cents at $16.10, and that all in light of a stronger U.S. dollar. The Dow, Standard & Poor's, along with the NASDAQ, all closed at all-time record highs, and Bitcoin was resilient in that it did trade lower on the week but closed dramatically higher. Bitcoin futures closing at 18,105. That's up 1,300 on the day. To say that gold prices had a strong and dramatic recovery this week would be an understatement, considering that on Tuesday, gold pricing fell to the lowest low it had traded to since the beginning of July, when the market touched upon $12.38. However, there was a swift and strong recovery on Wednesday, immediately following the release of this month's FOMC meeting statement, taking prices during their intraday high up about $16 on Thursday's trading. Although it closed slightly lower on the day, it did manage to eke out a higher low, a higher high than the activity that we saw on Wednesday. And of course, today we only saw gold close up $1. However, it did make a higher high as well as a higher low. So what is our forecast for gold, and what are we looking at next week? Given that gold closed higher on a week when U.S. equities closed at a new all-time record high, and we still had dollar strength, we can certainly see that outside forces curtailed or limited the upside move that we witnessed this week. One thing is absolutely clear, and that is we have the makings, or the first part of that V bottom that is so characteristic of a key reversal in the market. That key reversal right now, as far as I'm concerned, has a caveat. And the caveat has to do with where the highest highs of the week came in, which are all below a 61.8% retracement of the large rally from July to September. On a historical basis, we can certainly define and see how the market reacted as it hit this particular price point on several occasions. There were actually 3 separate occasions, 2 occurring in October and 1 in November, in which the market traded to this particular price point and found superlative support, trading higher off of this price point. It was also evident during this time period that we had real resistance at around 1,300. And in fact, it was not until the beginning of December when prices actually broke below this critical area at 1264, which is why this week's recovery is so dynamic and so important. Any follow-through buying on Monday or Tuesday would absolutely take the price point above our current resistance level at 1264. The resistance level would now become the support level, and it would give us technical confirmation that this week's lows achieved and the subsequent spike to higher pricing was the beginning of a key reversal, and we would expect higher prices in gold in the week to come. The caveat is any downside pressure at the beginning of the week would firmly confirm that our current resistance area is still in play. Silver also showed signs that this week's activity resulted in the V formation necessary for a key reversal when pricing bottomed at approximately $15.60 per ounce. It did manage to close above $16, and our current level of resistance in silver sits strongly at approximately $16.30 per ounce. Lastly, I do want to take a look at Bitcoin futures, which began trading on the CBOE Sunday night. So we've had approximately a full week of trading in the market. Interesting action because we had a tremendous spike right at the beginning of the week, in which we saw Bitcoin pricing in the futures markets track and trade well above 18,000 up to about 18,500. That rapid price increase in the futures markets created a wider disparity between cash pricing and futures pricing. And for the remainder of the first week of Bitcoin trading on the CBOE, we saw prices soften. It would take the remainder of the trading week for cash pricing and futures pricing to come into alignment. Bitcoin futures today closed up solidly higher on the day, closing at 18,090. In terms of a net change on the day, it is an increase of $1,305 or 7.7%. At the same time, cash Bitcoin is currently tracking at $17,735, an increase of $984 on the day. I am definitely looking for an increase in price of Bitcoin next week, both in the futures markets as well as cash. Gold had an exceptional week when it traded to the lowest low but recovered one day later. Now, it did close just below resistance, and so follow-through buying on Monday would absolutely give us the technical confirmation needed to say that this week's action was a key reversal in the market and that we will see higher pricing in both gold and silver ahead. This has been Gary Wagner, wishing you as always good trading. We'll talk to you on Monday for another daily update and review. Bye-bye.